All right, good morning, everyone. This is the June 8th meeting of the New Mexico Oil Conservation Commission. Call it to order. I'm going to go ahead, because I know the audio is a little tricky here, and just call the roll as we kick things off this morning. It is a relatively brief agenda, so we'll go ahead and get started. Commissioner Bloom?
Present.
Commissioner Empoma?
Present.
Let the record reflect that the chair is also present. Fellow commissioners, have you had a chance to review the agenda for today's meeting? Do you have any comments or additions?
Yes, I did get a chance to review that, and Mr. Chair, probably the only thing I would want to discuss potentially at some point, I believe I saw a rulemaking petition related to PFAS, and I don't know if we're going to be talking about that today, but I thought it'd be worth mentioning.
I'm happy to cover that in other business briefly for the record and just give a sense of where that position is and next steps. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Mr. Chair, I so move.
Mr. Chair, second.
Let the record reflect the agenda was approved unanimously. The minutes for the May 11th, 2023 meeting were distributed to the commissioners. Do folks have any comments or edits to those minutes?
No, Mr. Chair, I had an opportunity to review those and would move to adopt the minutes from our previous meeting.
Mr. Chair, I do second as well.
Let the record reflect the minutes were approved unanimously. Next item on the agenda is adjustments to dates for our upcoming meeting. It is summer vacation season, and I'd like to keep the commission moving at a normal pace, but also respect we've got a small commission, so keeping a quorum intact is important. Based on some feedback collected solely related to scheduling from the other commissioners, we are going to move the August 2023 meeting date, which is currently set for August 10th, and we are going to shift it to August 17th, 2023. I do recognize that is also on the same date that the division holds its own hearings, but some conflicts are unavoidable. We'll work with folks to sort of manage schedules there. Similarly, for the September 2023 meeting, which is currently scheduled for September 14th, we are going to move that up to September 7th, 2023, based on feedback from commissions. We will update the schedule on the website to reflect those changes, and obviously no other adjustments to filing rules, any of the other stuff. Same notice requirements will apply, same computation, but those are the adjusted dates. Again, that is August 17th, 2023 for the August meeting, and September 7th, 2023 for the September meeting this year. And we'll make sure those changes are reflected on the OCC website.
Mr. Chairman?
Yep.
Maybe two questions. Do we anticipate needing to meet the Friday after those Thursday meetings? Do you anticipate 2-day meetings?
I do not anticipate 2-day meetings at this time, but because the docket's fluid, I will communicate and share with the commissioner, with the commissioners as soon as we've got a better sense of what the docket looks like. We had a pretty full docket coming into this meeting, and it entirely disappeared. So, but we'll know as we put it together for the initial meeting notice, and I'll communicate thoughts accordingly.
If I may, first, good morning, commissioners. My name is Dan Rubin. I'm with the Attorney General's office, and I've been assigned to represent the OCC. I look forward to working with all three of you. One question that came up in my mind when you moving the meeting to August 17th, and as Commissioner Bloom has noted, there is a pending petition for rulemaking. Will we be able to decide whether to proceed with rulemaking within the time frame necessary?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Like I said, I'll hit that scheduling piece shortly so that we can cover it with the ship. So does that work, Commissioner Bloom?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And the one other thing I wanted to flag, I have to, on July 13th, I have an obligation that will extend to about noon. I could meet as soon as noon that day. Thursday, July 13th, our regularly scheduled meeting. I am free to meet that Friday as well, but I'll need a delayed start that day.
So if we started the July 13th meeting at noon, you could carry over on a Friday?
Yes.
Okay. We'll take that back. And I have no trouble doing a delayed start on Thursday, July 13th. We'll put it on the calendar to start at noon, and we'll make sure the notice reflects that when it goes out in advance of that meeting.
Thank you.
In terms of pending cases, there are none on the docket today as reflected in the agenda that was circulated. Those cases were continued to August and September 2023. Our adjustments to the dates for those meetings apply to those continued cases. Again, I'll encourage counsel for those cases to communicate with us as to status, timing, and scheduling of them. Some of them have been on the docket for a little while now. Daniel, thank you for introducing myself. My apologies for not introducing our new attorney from Open Government in the Office of Attorney General. So thank you for stepping in and flagging. I appreciate it. We had a couple items under pending litigation. Not sure there are any detailed flags, and I don't think we need to go into executive session, but wanted if you could just give those brief notes.
Well, really the only case I have anything to add on is the Atencio case, which was filed, and as Chairman Fuges informed me this morning, there has been an agreement with the plaintiff's counsel to extend the deadline 60 days to answer. I can tell you that the AG's office is coordinating with the governor's office, and the fact that the legislature is also a party to this case, there are a fair amount of moving parts in coordinating in defense as to whether there's any conflicts. We're not in closed session, so I'm really limited as to what I can say, but right now we're still in a very preliminary point with this case.
I would anticipate going forward, commissioners, that we will have some closed sessions to discuss the status of the litigation and other sort of strategic decisions we're making at this time. After talking with Mr. Rubin, we decided it wasn't necessary today because it's so new and there's still a lot of that back-end coordination
Yes.
that's occurring. I'll flag the Marker versus Oil Conservation Commission case. The Court of Appeals issued a very, very short decision, only 2 pages, and it effectively affirmed the district court's orders, its finding of fact, and its conclusions of law. So the OCC prevailed, but it's still, so he has an opportunity to file for cert. So
Right, 30 days.
30 days. So we will see if that occurs and provide an update there. In terms of other business, Commissioner Bloom, what I was going to cover, we did get that PFAS petition. The OCC clerk circulated it to you as required by our regs. Our regs have an interesting provision about such petitions. They require us to consider that. They require us to, at a public meeting, determine if we're going to take up the petition for rulemaking. And the meeting has to be no sooner than 15 days and no later than 60 days. Because of when the petition was filed, it was like 11 days out from this meeting or something like that, maybe 13. So not within the 15-day window. It will be on the docket for that preliminary determination at the July 13th, 2023 meeting. And again, the purpose of that discussion and presentation is to give parties who want to participate in the rulemaking a chance to enter an appearance. Not to get into the substance at all, but merely just get enough of a substance on it so we as a commission can make a decision whether we want to carry it forward into rulemaking. And then we can begin setting as part of that discussion, we'll need to set a schedule for rulemaking. And obviously that's going to be worked out with any parties who enter an appearance in the matter. So you will see that on the agenda that's published in advance of the July 13th meeting, and we'll take that initial procedural step there.
Very good, Mr. Chair. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
And I will make sure that in advance of the meeting that the commissioners, in addition to getting the petition, I have asked the AG's office for just confirmation that, we'll have in advance of the meeting, just confirmation that, the petition meets the applicable requirements.
Yes.
So that, we can factor that into well, but that will be, I suspect, first up on the agenda, on the 13th meeting. And I'm just going to look out to the to the folks in attendance to see if there are any questions before I wrap it up. As I said, this was going to be a abbreviated meeting. Let's give folks a minute. All right, seeing none, our next meeting is at July 13th, 2023. We are going to have a delayed start until noon Mountain Time. That meeting will, in all likelihood, based on cases that is continued and what's on the docket, I think the commission should plan on that being a 2-day meeting that spills over into Friday. And again, our hearing room at the Wendell Chino building is very close. And I know I say it's very close. It is actually very close. It has the fancy wood paneling up. It just needs the tech set up. So I hope to be at our more permanent home later this year. I think we are on track. And with that, I will adjourn the meeting. Thanks, everyone. See you on the 13th.
Thank you all.
Thank you, folks.